When we start talking about creativity, uh, the question is what comes to mind? In the world of music, which I talked about last year at the Creativity Conference in my keynote, every song, regardless of the genre, was written with the same 12 notes. And when someone asks the question of a large audience, how many notes are there in music? Most respond by saying 7, because they only count the major notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But in the year 1687, a famous composer in Western Europe decides he wants more options. And he's the guy that put the black keys on the piano. So when you look at the 88 keys on a keyboard, there are 7 white notes and 5 black notes, a total of 12 notes in music. And those 12 notes repeat themselves every 12 notes down that keyboard, which we call an octave. And then in the chromatic scale, which is the system that we use to write music, which makes it easy for you to play our music that we write, those 12 notes come alive. But here's the question of the day that I want to plant to get our conversation going, to get your juices flowing. What's the difference between a hit songwriter and a lousy songwriter? They have access to the same 12 notes. What's the difference between a great, successful, significant entrepreneur and an average wannabe who wants to start a business? What's the difference between a dancer who just marks the steps and one who interprets the music and makes it come alive as a performing artist? The answer is the same. The difference between a hit songwriter and a lousy songwriter is passion, creativity, and imagination. Think about it. The only difference between one song and another song is the order in which those 12 notes fall and the timing and spacing in between the notes. So when you look at the 12 notes, and if you speak English, as I do, there are 26 letters in the English alphabet. What our job as creatives is to do is to look at the same 12 basic, boring, naked notes, the same 26 letters in the alphabet. G-O-D spells God. Same 3 letters spell dog, D-O-G, G-O-D. It's how you arrange those notes. It's how you arrange the letters with passion, creativity, and imagination that makes your song come alive. So when we start talking about creativity, a lot of people only go to the surface. They scratch the surface of what their particular talent is. I'm a dancer, I'm a choreographer, I'm a songwriter, I'm a musician, I'm a sound engineer, I'm a filmmaker, I'm a screenwriter, I'm an animator at Disney, as Joe talked about yesterday. I create content for, instead of putting us in a pigeonholed silo of creativity, what I want to do today is begin with personal development. I'm the primary contributor and author of all the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. And if you think about it, the formula was to put 101 3.5-page stories in one volume that would trigger more passion, creativity, imagination, innovation, but it would prove true something that's so vitally important to laying the foundation of what it really means to be creative. Knowledge is power, but knowledge has no heart. In other words, we don't learn to know, we learn to do. And the process of creativity is how we take our knowledge and information and turn it into action. All the information in the world is going to make a person successful. It's like the guy who has 3 PhDs, one in philosophy, one in psychology, one in sociology, but he doesn't have a job. He doesn't have a job, but at least he can explain why. Moral of the story, reason leads to conclusions, but it is emotion that leads to action. Reason leads to conclusions, but it is emotion that leads to action. So the way that we become a creative genius, the way we turn what is into what it has the power and potential to be, is to make sure we understand a few things. Number one, the law of attraction isn't mystical. We don't just manifest something out into the universe and expect that car or that perfect person to show up in our lives. That's a misunderstanding. The law of attraction is simply we don't attract who we want, we attract who we are. So when we become crystal clear on who we are, suddenly we recognize people who are already in our path who think and believe like we believe. When you become crystal clear on what you want, suddenly people who are already in your path seem to come out of the woodwork. My point is they've always been there, but because you weren't crystal clear on your intention, crystal clear on what you want, where you're going, or who you are, you didn't notice them. My buddy Simon Sinek, start with why, a colleague, he's famous for saying, the goal is not to do business with everybody who wants what you have. The goal is to do business only with those who believe what you believe, so they choose you, not just somebody who does what you do. So again, when we really are serious about becoming creative and becoming a creative, it has to begin with identifying and being crystal clear on who we are, but more importantly, on what we have the potential and power to become, so that we know how to take the elements of life, the laws of the universe that are already in existence, and use them for our benefit. Does that make sense? So let's tie it into personal development. And I want to tie personal development into money. And I'll show you how I make that segue matter and how it ties into the foundation that I've laid. We become the average of the 5 people we associate with the most. So if you want to be creative, we need to hang around with people who will trigger that passion, creativity, and imagination, not expecting us to live small because they feel intimidated, but people who inspire us to become more today than we were yesterday. We become the average of the 5 people we associate with the most, which means if you hang around with 5 broke people, you're going to become the 6th. If you hang around with 5 negative, whining, blaming, complaining people, you're going to become the 6th. You put a healthy child in the same room with a sick child, most of the time you end up with 2 sick children. Moral of the story, to be disciplined, healthy, and significant, we must be willing to pay any price and travel any distance to associate with extraordinary human beings, even online. Isn't that why you're part of this creativity conference and that you've logged in today? And that you took advantage of yesterday, you took advantage of all the sessions today and tomorrow. Having said that, let's just give ourselves a reminder of the basic lesson 101 in economics and tie it into personal development. We are paid, excuse me, we are paid for the value we bring to the marketplace. One of my mentors, Jim Rohn, he taught me many years ago, we are paid for the value we bring to the marketplace. Now, it takes time to bring value to the marketplace, but we're not paid for time. If that was true, we could lie in bed all day long and just have people send us money. Yes, it takes time to add value to the marketplace. And the only way we can understand how to take advantage of that time is to understand the economic earning ladder that each of us has access to, regardless of our country, regardless of our language, especially here in the United States of America. Now visualize this income earning ladder. It begins with maybe $5 an hour, £5 an hour, whatever your currency is in your country. In America, it begins with $5 an hour, and maybe at the top of that earning ladder is $80 million a year in annual salary paid to the CEO of Coca-Cola Company. And the good news is also a question that each of us needs to answer. The good news is it's up to us to choose on what level of that ladder we are not just currently sitting on or standing on, but what we have the potential to climb and how high that income can possibly be. For example, McDonald's pays somebody $5 an hour to take out the trash. And the reason why is because that person is only worth $5 an hour to the marketplace. Now, don't misunderstand me. That person is still very valuable as a human being, very valuable as a family member, as a brother, sister, mom, or dad. That person is still very, very valuable as a citizen of our country, very, very valuable in the sight of Almighty God. But that person, because of their qualifications, because of their expertise, because of their preparation or lack thereof, that person is only worth $5 an hour to the marketplace. Question: could you double your value in the marketplace? Could you triple it? Could you make $50 an hour in the same time frame? How about $500 an hour? The CEO of Coca-Cola Bottling Company makes $80 million a year in annual salary because he has orchestrated the generation of $1 billion in revenue for the company. So the company willingly pays him $80 million because they think he's worth that much in the marketplace. I don't know how your political structure is set up in your country, but here in America, we constantly hear that our legislators, our Senate and our Congress gather together and they want to pass a law to increase our minimum wage. Right now, they wanted to increase our minimum wage to $15 an hour, which forces every employer to pay everybody within their employ a minimum of $15 an hour. And here's the truth, my friends. We don't need to pass a law. That $15 an hour is already on this income learning economic ladder. $5 an hour to $6 an hour taking out the trash. If you do it with a positive attitude to make everybody else around you better and you show up to work taking out the trash whistling, I guarantee McDonald's will see your increased value in the marketplace and they will willingly pay you $6 an hour instead of $5. All we have to do is figure out a way to decide how to get focused on our intention, more importantly, how to get clear on who we are and what we have the potential and power to become, and realize that as we prepare ourselves, we can easily make $15 an hour, $30, $50, $100, $500, $1,000 an hour. So bottom line, which is the foundation of creativity, if you stay here with me, if you want to increase your value in the marketplace, what we have to understand is the only way we can do so is to increase our personal value. Most people hate their jobs. They only look forward to Friday instead of Monday. They think they're paid by the hour, when in reality, we're paid for the value we bring to that hour. So the way we add value and become irreplaceable in the marketplace is to increase our personal value by not working harder or more on our job, but working harder and more on ourselves. Does that make sense? I hope so. So if you have something go wrong, if you're in a situation where your personal relationships go south, you have this brutal, heartbreaking breakup, or your business goes south, something happens because of the COVID crisis, and you really believe that life's not fair, and you actually describe your current situation, I've hit rock bottom. May I remind all of us that at the end of the day, no one hits rock bottom. We hit rock foundation. We hit rock belief. We hit the baseline core values on which we were raised. So the current question to create a sense of self-worth and self-esteem must begin with the answer to is your current belief strong enough, deep enough, and true enough to equip you and empower you to respond to rapid change? If not, why not? And if when, why not right now? Think about it. Our ability to respond to rapid change, is that not creativity? How to look at a situation and immediately respond and adapt to change, to find the opportunity in change? Isn't that the essence of being a hit songwriter? to take what is happening, what is in front of you, and with passion, creativity, and imagination, turn it into something more than it currently was? How do we do that? We begin by working on ourselves from the inside out. To illustrate, a while ago, I'm walking through the mall with one of my buddies, and someone bumps into him and he spills his cup of coffee on the floor. I said, "What happened?" He said, "I spilled my cup of coffee." I said, "No, you didn't." He said, "What?" I said, "You didn't spill your cup of coffee. You spilled what was in your cup. Had you had tea in your cup, you would have spilled tea. Had you had orange juice or water in your cup, you would have spilled orange juice or water. We can only spill what's in our cup. If you're negative and the economy bumps into you, if you're negative and a business dealing bumps into you, if you're negative and you've gone into an audition to be a dancer for a world tour or to go in for a job interview and you don't get it and you're negative, what spills out is anger, resentment, woe me, victim mentality. I didn't get the same shot. Or we might pull the gender card or the race card or some card to use it as an excuse instead of as a benefit, that's why you didn't get chosen, or that's why this thing happened that turned negative instead of positive. But if you're positive and the economy bumps into you, if you're positive and you don't get selected in an audition for a movie role, for that job opportunity, if you're positive and something doesn't go right, what spills out is love and understanding and forgiveness and empathy. Wow, I've spilled on my pants before. It's okay. I'm just going to take them to the dry cleaners and all will be well in a couple of days. It's so critically important when we start developing self-development, when we start working on self, in order for us to put ourselves in that mindset that triggers passion, creativity, and imagination, we must actually be okay with who we are. If right now you're having trouble triggering that creativity, if you have writer's block, if you feel like you've lost that edge on stage, if you feel like you have no more ideas to bring to the marketplace, if you're a writer, most likely you're not depressed. Most likely you're suffering from one of 5 emotionally distorted conditions. You're hungry, angry, lonely, tired, or sad. We call it halts. When things don't go right and we're negative, whoa me, we give up. But what keeps us going, and everyone who becomes significant, the art of significance, achieving the level beyond success, every single person who is tenacious enough to hang in there and never say never until they turn their dream into reality, never claims that they're depressed. Oh, I'm so depressed. That didn't happen. I'm so depressed. No, there's a giant difference between being depressed and being disappointed. Giant difference between being depressed and being discouraged. And most people who are not feeling up to par, most people who have lost their competitive edge or are emotionally drained, drip dry, and cannot be creative, they're suffering from halts. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired, or sad. And when we can identify which of those, or maybe all of them at the same time, God forbid, that we're experiencing, when we're experiencing any one of those 5 emotionally distorting conditions, we can't feel, we can't listen, we can't love, we can't understand, we can't forgive, and especially we can't be creative because we're blocking ourselves into that emotional downturn where we don't understand the process of creativity. I hope this makes sense, because in the art of significance, achieving the level beyond success, what we use creativity for is simply one thing, and let me explain. I played American football for 13 years, and I'm in a conversation with one of my football teammates. He was drafted into the National Football League here in America in the 2nd round by the Philadelphia Eagles. That's a big deal. And after 2 years with the Eagles, he's traded to my Oakland Raiders. And after 4 years in the league, playing at the highest Pro Bowl superstar status, one day he quits, walks out of practice, never to play again. Why? He loved being a football player, but he hated playing football. He got what he thought he wanted at the moment, but he hated what he got. He loved the celebrity perks and fame and fortune that allowed him to live this life we call successful. Nice house, nice income, nice car, nice toys, nice holiday. Oh, nice attention, nice accomplishment, nice rewards, always competing against others. But because his inner voice and his true purpose in life was misaligned with who he was and what he was really born on this earth to do, he would never live a life of significance, and he would die with his music still in him. So my question is, are you currently wanting what you get? And if not, isn't it time to stop, immediately stop living a life that never will bring you joy and happiness and complete fulfillment and self-actualization? And the only way we have the power to stop is to be creative, knowing that there's something else we can do, that we can be really good at, that will trigger more passion, creativity, and imagination. And once we find that, once we're true to who we really are and our God-given talents and abilities that only you and only I have, then we start figuring out a way to surround ourselves with people who believe like we believe, who have the same ambition and personal fortitude and tenacity that we need in our lives to become the best version of ourselves and turn that dream, that talent, into a reality. If you understand what I'm saying, let me just share a personal story that actually brings me to the stage. I'm a professional speaker, New York Times bestselling author. I've written 37 books. I've spoken in 73 countries, over 6 million people, to most of the Fortune 500 companies, many professional teams in sports, and the list goes on and on. Got some gold records in country music. I really believe that the creative culture is my tribe. I feel like I'm one of you, and I understand. But it all began when I realized that there's a difference between who you are and what you do. When we identify ourselves in terms of what we do instead of who we are, we become a human doing instead of a human being. Unacceptable of success and significance is what we seek. And until we become that human being, we can never trigger our ultimate capacity and potential as a human being, which is all about passion, creativity, and imagination. So I played American football for 13 years. One day in practice, the dream ended. We had a tackling drill. Coach blew the whistle. Two of us ran into each other full speed. The only parts of our bodies that made contact, Lyle, teammate, his helmet crashed into my helmet in a violent head-on collision. My right shoulder was smashed into the cutting edge of my fiberglass pads, and we slammed to the ground. And when Lyle got off of me, my eye drooped. I had loss of speech. I couldn't talk anymore. My right side was paralyzed, and my arm dangled helplessly at my side. My eye went back to normal quickly, and my speech came back, but I was paralyzed for 14 months. I went to 16 of the very best doctors and physicians in all of North America, 15 of whom told me I would never recover. I would never get any better. Have any of you heard that? What happens if you believe it? You never get any better. And I hit a fast moving downward spiral until I hit what I thought was rock bottom. Now that I've recovered, the two most frequently asked questions are these. Clark, why did you keep going to so many different doctors? Answer, I kept going from doctor to doctor until I found one who believed I would get better. Have we not gone full circle? If you're serious about becoming the very best version of yourself, everything you were born to be, We must seek our tribe. We must seek through the law of resonance, through energy, vibration, and the frequency of that energy and vibration, remembering we don't attract who we want, we attract who we are, and understanding the physics. There's a law of physics that says if this element is sending out an energy or vibration of 400 megahertz, and it collides or interacts or interfaces with another entity that is sending out the exact same energy, vibration, and frequency at 400 megahertz. And when 400 hits 400, it increases to 800 megahertz. The law of attraction based on energy and vibration is a real deal. It's a real thing. So we need to seek out those who seek us and together rise. What are you doing to create friendships, relationships, and environments also emote a specific vibration and energy? You want to trigger more passion, creativity, and imagination to write a novel like Harry Potter? You got to go someplace that will inspire you to think of castles and people flying on brooms and magic in the air. It's hard to do that in a kiosk or in the confines of some building. We need to fire up. Yeah, it's all about what we believe and finding others who believe in us, for us, and with us, and together we rise. Second most frequently questioned, Clark, what took you so long to recover? Incidentally, my body was not responding to the stereotypical medical advice or physical therapy methods of the day. I had to get creative. I had to introduce hot, cold therapy and scratching where it itches and learning how to trigger the nervous system when others who supposedly had all the knowledge couldn't figure it out. Creativity is why I'm still alive. So the second question, what took me so long to recover? I was asking the wrong questions. Are you? You see, I was asking the doctors how to get better when I should have been asking myself why. And once we answer why, figuring out the how-to becomes clear and simple. So hopefully in this creativity conference, you're not just tuning into sessions trying to figure out how to become a Disney animator, how to become a bigwig and creative at NASA, how to do this, as Alexandria Sims Clark talked about yesterday in her session. She was talking not about how to become a choreographer and assistant choreographer, how to become a dancer. Her and her two amazing panelists that I tuned into talked about why they were allowing themselves and preparing themselves to become these amazing actors, these amazing dancers, these amazing hosts, these amazing choreographers. Once we answer why, figuring out the how-to becomes clear and simple. Now, here's the most important part of this session, my friends. My recovery was not a rah-rah formula for resilience. Physiologically and biologically, we know that if you only identify the how and the what, you only engage the mind. But if you add to that a passionate why, and you add to that a compelling want, which is a meaningful goal, you have set your intention, you are clear on who you are and what you're looking for in your life and where you're going, it engages both the head and the heart. It engages both the brain and the heart. And physiologically, it's proven that when you engage the head with the heart, your muscles engage, your brain fires, and your heart pumps more rapidly. And when you only answer how or what and engage only the head, no such emotional experience occurs. So if you're serious about triggering that passion, creativity, and imagination, we can't just set a goal. We can't just set an intention. We have to be willing to prepare ourselves to take full advantage of the opportunity, saying, okay, I want to go fast. I want to go high. I want to be on this stage. I want to land this audition. I want to fulfill my ultimate capacity and potential as a human being. But I can't just do it by thinking. I can't just do it by planning. I must focus in on preparation. You know, I love movies. If you go to my website, danclark.com, or if you follow me on Instagram at danclarkspeak, you can see some of my crazy videos and some of my amazing adventures that I've had the chance to participate in. And my favorite movie out right now is called Top Gun Maverick. And why? It's because I've had an opportunity to fly all the fighter jets and bombers in the United States Air Force, and not in war, but as a civilian taking advantage of these exhilarating opportunities, going Mach 2, 1,200 miles an hour with my hair on fire, catching 9.4 Gs, doing all the loops, flying with the Air Force Thunderbirds demo team and doing the entire air show. And it's unbelievable what I learned from that movie. Don't think, do. Oh, it's not about the plane, it's about the pilot. So I had an opportunity to fly that very plane featured in Top Gun Maverick, the F-18. And we're airborne for 90 minutes. I got to take the control stick for 30 minutes. Talk about just making every dream and having an adrenaline rush come true. And when we landed, I asked the pilot, how did we fly this magnificent machine? How did we go Mach 2 supersonic and catch 9.4 Gs? And he said, by feel. I said, what? This is a state-of-the-art, high technology jet where you're in the cockpit. You see that the cockpit is crammed full of gauges and gadgets. The highest technology available to humanity. And I asked my pilot, how did we fly this magnificent supersonic jet? And he said, by feel. I said, what do you mean? He said, you become the plane. I said, what do you mean? He said, when you climbed up that ladder and slid into the cockpit, did you strap into the F-18 or did you strap the F-18 onto you? If you want to take your life and your career and your personal relationships to the next level, we don't do it with knowledge and information. That's still part of the preparation process. But you don't fly a supersonic jet with the left brain cognitive psychobabbling neurotechnical side of the brain. You take it to the ultimate capacity. You push it to the limit with the right brain, touchy-feely, relational, creative, passionate, imaginative side of the brain. So I challenge you as we wind down our time together, that you seek constantly and continuously seek preparation. If you're a dancer, obviously you need to continuously take dance classes. If you're a writer, take writing classes. If you're a screenwriter, take screenwriting classes. Get around people who will trigger all the information that you possibly have inside of you into action. What can you do with this information? But most importantly, you have to begin by being true to who you are, not trying to write a movie script like someone else has done, not trying to duplicate someone else's song, but by taking the same information, the same 12 basic, boring, naked notes, with the mindset that no matter how many hit songs you've written in the past, today's a brand new day to take the same information and with passion, creativity, and imagination, arrange your day, arrange your notes, arrange your dance steps, arrange whatever you're working on into another hit, unbelievable performance. To remind you about where we started, who are you really? I leave you with this story. A few years ago, I'm the keynote speaker in a national convention in San Francisco, California. I'm sitting on the front row, and the CEO leader of this huge company, 5,000 folks in the audience, is up on stage talking, kind of into himself, full of himself, quoting facts and figures, killing us with PowerPoint, not triggering anything inside, but just from the outside in, very cerebral. There's a vacant seat next to me, and all of a sudden the door opens, and in comes this young woman, things in her arms, kind of hustling and bustling, and she sits down next to me, kind of out of breath. She says, "Are you Dan Clark?" I said, "Yeah." "What's your name?" She said, "Yolanda." I said, what do you do? She points at the CEO up on the stage. She says, I'm the administrative assistant to the gentleman up there on the stage. And I said, how's that going for you? And she kind of rolled her eyes and said, shh. I said, you're late. Can I buy you a watch? She said, you're not funny. And all of a sudden the CEO finishes speaking all about him. And Yolanda is introduced to take the stage and sing our United States national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. Now, because I'm an American patriot, with all due respect to all of you from other countries, when someone sings our national anthem, because of my involvement with America and my love of the troops, I always cheer up. But in 1991, at a Super Bowl in Miami Beach, you could Google it, Whitney Houston, Grammy Award-winning singer, Whitney Houston sang our national anthem. And when she hit that last note, that high A, it was unbelievable. And we remained standing for 2 minutes afterwards with tears streaming down our cheeks, chanting, Whitney, Whitney, Whitney. I asked my fellow Americans, have you ever heard Celine Dion sing God Bless America? And she's a French Canadian. Clearly the difference between an extraordinary performing artist and a national karaoke champion who sings the same song and sings the same notes. Yolanda rose to that level. She was unbelievable. She electrified the audience. And when she finished that national anthem and hit that final note of the Star Spangled Banner, and we were standing and started cheering with tears in our eyes, we remained standing for another 2 minutes chanting, Yolanda, Yolanda, Yolanda. She came off stage, sat down next to me. I'm introduced as the keynote speaker. How did I start my speech? Is Yolanda an administrative assistant who happens to be an extraordinary performing artist? Or is Yolanda an extraordinary performing artist who happens to be an administrative assistant? Who are you really? And only through tapping into our passion, creativity, and imagination, and associating with those who also are creatives, who love to find the beauty in something else that no one else sees, we will become the very best version of ourselves and clearly fulfill our ultimate capacity and potential as a human being, becoming everything we were born to be. Remember, successful people get what they think they want. But those of us who are striving to achieve the level beyond success and become significant actually want what we get so we don't die with our music still in us. It's an honor to team up with Maxim. It's an honor to come to you from my library here in the mountains of Utah, where proudly I've read one book a week for the last 16 and a half years, where I read children's books by Alexandria Sims Clark, where I read books on philosophy, books on team building, books on, excuse me, on bravery, on courage, but most importantly, books that trigger within me passion, creativity, and imagination. Next time someone says to you, think outside the lines, you got to think outside the box. Join me as a maverick renegade in the back of the room, asking, what if the answers are still in the box? Most people who come to conferences like this, most people who listen to keynote speakers, professional speakers like myself, or attend a seminar or session, come in search of the new answers. When in reality, don't you think we ought to come in search of the right answers? And the right answers have always been right, or we can't call them right. Everything required for you to take yourself to the next level, my friends, is already inside of you. Everything required to take your organization, your job to the next level is already inside of you. The only person you need to be better than is the person you were yesterday. The answers truly are inside of you. And all we have to do is trigger the passion, creativity, and imagination to bring what's already inside of us out, to serve the world, and to make everybody who comes in our space leave us saying, I like me best when I'm with you. I want to see you again. I like me best when I'm with you. I want to see you again. Thanks. I hope to see you at a live event coming up at some point when we all can meet belly to belly, heart to heart, face to face. And until then, I join all of us in honoring Maxim and my host today, Aiden. I'll turn it back to you, good friend. My love and admiration to all of you who joined us, and I hope I added some value. Again, you can DM me on Instagram, Dan Clark Speak. My website's danclark.com, and I would give anything to be able to keep in touch with all of you as we found each other as part of our tribe. Back to you, Aiden.
Wow, thank you so much, Dan. That was sensational. We do have about 5 minutes left for a Q&A, so if anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat or request to unmute and you can ask them face to face.
I have a question for Maria. You've been on my screen the whole time and you've laughed when I wanted you to laugh, and you got contemplative when I wanted you to think about what I was philosophizing about. Tell me who you are, my friend. Where are you, and why did you join this creativity conference today?
Hi, I'm from Saskatchewan, Canada.
I love it. I've been to Saskatoon and Regina and Melville. I love Saskatchewan.
I'm actually, if you take Melville, Saskatoon, and Regina, I'm smack dab in the middle. I live on an acreage. I'm a potter. And I have a little highway store that I run on the honor system on the highway here in the middle of Saskatchewan.
I love it. That's good. Do you have a question?
I don't have a question. I just want to say kudos to you in that you have triggered the passion in me again, the creativity and the imagination. Anyways, it's been great. I've really, really enjoyed this morning.
Thank you. Love to you and admiration. How about your name that's coming up is Becky Plum. Hi, where are you and what do you do?
Hi, am I on unmute?
Yes, we can hear you.
Brilliant. Yes. Okay. I'm in the UK, so I'm about 40-minute drive from London, and in the south, near a city called Guildford. Don't know if anyone knows it. I'm here with my Jack Russell.
I love it. I love it.
I'm a creative on a journey learning how to be a holistic creative arts therapist, facilitator. So I'm almost qualified, and I'm also an artist, sort of mixed media artist. And yeah, I'm just on an incredible journey. I don't have any fixed plans at the moment. I'm still building. If that makes sense. And I've got to say, I've never heard of you, Dan Clark. And I don't say that to offend you. It's just, you know, I've learned something new today. So
thank you. With all due respect, I've never heard of you either. And so we're even, and we're growing together. That's the purpose of the conference.
I'm not saying it to like offend you or humble you.
Never.
I've not been in this arena before, so this is a whole new thing for me. So nice
welcome.
to meet you.
Welcome. I hope you'll spread the word and get more people to join our creativity conference. Maxim, the actual creator, he's one of the finest human beings on the planet, and he has the extraordinary ability to prove true that we become the average of the 5 people we associate with the most, and helps all of us increase our value to the marketplace. And so, if I can just remind you about anything we talked about today, Becky, it's what we have to do to get people to choose you as the one to trigger passion, creativity, and imagination, guide them along the path instead of just somebody who does what you do. And as you find your authentic self, I guarantee the rest will take care of itself. You're awesome.
Thank you. The takeaway I had from today was, from your talk, was, and I haven't heard of the other bloke either, if it's any consolation. So it's fair. Yeah, the takeaway for me was when you said that, recounted the story about how do you fly the plane. It's feel. It's about feel. and that's how I operate. That's always what I hear from musicians. So you can have, you know, the best musical ability in the world, but if you're not playing with feel, forget it. So I really appreciated that, being reminded of that. So.
You know, as a guitar player, I would challenge anyone on this creativity conference to just analyze based on what you just said, Becky. You can actually listen and tell the difference between Carlos Santana, Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page, some of the greatest guitar players in the world, and yet they're playing the same 6 strings. They might be playing the same Fender guitar, but based on how they place their fingers on the strings, bringing out their own interpretation of what they've written, you can clearly tell who's playing the guitar just by the sound that's coming out of it. Passion, creativity, imagination, feel. I'm glad you brought that up.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks. Anything else, Aiden? Back to you, brother. And she commented on you. We're in the same boat, bro, except your hair has not moved since 1997. It's perfect. And I'm losing my hair here, and I'm growing it in places I don't even need it. That's not a fair trade-off. My only hope is that the hair in my right ear will grow long enough I can comb it up over the top of my head and fake all of you out.
The genes in my family don't look good for me. I'm making the most of it while I can.